Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings. It's our special ho holiday edition. Hope you all had a great week since we last spoke to you, and the Mets have been busy again, making another big signing and a great signing as well. And we'll get to that in just a second, but hate to bring down your holidays on a sad note, but the baseball world lost a great Ricky Henderson, considered the greatest leadoff hitter and MLB's all-time leader in stolen bases, leadoff home runs, and run scores, has passed away. He was 65 years old. Henderson played for 9 teams in a 25-year career. You don't hear that much. You don't hear guys playing for 25 years anymore. And that included the 1990 AL MVP award, 10 All-Star selections, 2 World Series titles, 3 Silver Slugger awards, 1 Gold Glove award, and a 1989 ALCS MVP award. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 2009, his first year of eligibility, appearing on 94.8% of the ballots. Ricky Henderson, former Met, played for the Mets in 1999 and part of 2000 before being released by the team. So he's got a tradition with our Mets, and that's why we wanted to mention it today. So Ricky Henderson, just a great ball player and a terrific base stealer, of course, and flaky kind of guy, character of a guy, and but he passes away at the young age of 65. So our condolences go out to the Henderson family. Now let's take a look at what the Mets have put under our Christmas tree. Another big present. That's right. They've signed left-handed Sean Manaea, and the New York Mets are in agreement in a 3-year, $75 million contract. Manaea set career high in innings at 181 and 2/3 and an ERA at 3.47 last year, and was spectacular from July through the end of the postseason. In 21 starts from July the 1st until his final postseason start, Manaea had a 3.40 ERA, 0.99 WHIP, and 127 strikeouts in 124 and a third innings, playing an integral role in the Mets' magical postseason run. Manaea had a 2.65 ERA in his first 3 postseason games. He pitched 17 innings in those before a bad game in a Game 6 start in the NLCS versus the Dodgers. He gave up 5 runs in 2 innings. So I guess it all came down to crash. But what a year for Sean Manaea, and the Mets ink him up and get him back in the fold, and he will join Kodai Senga and David Peterson and Clay Holmes and Frankie Montas and perhaps Paul Blackburn and Tyler McGill. And our rotation has become whole all of a sudden. It's become better. It's coming together slowly as David Stearns and Steve Cohen go about their business methodically, thoroughly, and with success so far. I mean, I think they're having a terrific off season, getting the free agents in here that the Mets need to make another run at this thing. And what does this mean for Pete Alonso? Is he next to sign? I mean, really, the free agent market for Pete hasn't been there. And some executives have said that a lot of teams do not want to take a chance on a right-handed hitter, first baseman, that isn't a great fielder. His numbers have been in decline. He's over 30, and they just don't want to take a chance on a long-term contract. So Pete's kind of in a bind right now, and the market is getting smaller and smaller, and it looks like the Mets may be the only team left. There's been a lot of activity in the first base market over the past week. With the Astros, they signed Christian Walker to a deal. The Yankees signed Paul Goldschmidt to a 1-year deal. The Diamondbacks traded for Josh Naylor with the Guardians. And then the Guardians went and signed Carlos Santana to a 1-year deal. And even the Nationals acquired Nathaniel Lowe. All these teams made moves at the first base position, and it was rumored that he could go to one of those. Alonso. Now they have their first baseman. So who does that leave? Well, the Mariners were talking about getting a first baseman, but they really don't have the money. And I think Pete is pricing himself, and his agent Scott Boras is pricing himself out of the market. He's either got to come down or they're going to play the waiting game until the team gets desperate. And I think the Mets are doing the same thing. They're playing the waiting game to see if Pete gets desperate. I would say, a 5-year deal in the area of 125 million would probably be the right thing. Maybe 150 million. Something in that range. I wouldn't go any more than that. And don't forget, he turned down a deal reportedly on an extension a year ago for 158 million and 7 years, I believe it was. Pete, you should have took it. He should have took it, but he thought he was gonna, or him and his agent. His agent promised him more money, and the market just isn't there. It's not. People aren't going to overpay for him at this point. So it makes sense to come to the Mets, to come back to the Mets, take the Mets, whatever offer they are making or they will make, and come back to the Mets and sign. And the Mets are not sitting still. They're showing interest and a strong interest in signing Alex Bregman, which is interesting because if you sign Bregman, then that means you're not going to sign Alonso because you're going to move Vientos to first. Now, they could sign Bregman and Alonso and move Vientos to DH, or have Alonso and Vientos and flip them back and forth between the DH spot and play Alonso play the bulk of the games at first, but DH some games and have Vientos play first base in those games, or Vientos could play some games at third and give Bregman a rest, or have Bregman DH. The experts are saying that Bregman and the Mets are the Mets could be a potential landing spot, and they have a legitimate shot of landing Bregman, even if they re-sign Alonso. So this will be interesting. It also could set up a trade. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Mets Nation, consider this. Could there possibly be the opportunity to sign Bregman, sign Alonso, and move Vientos in a trade for a stud pitcher of some sort? That could be something that they're thinking of as well. They have to consider all machinations in this game. And I'm sure that's what they're doing. But they're interested in Bregman, and they're still interested in bringing Pete back. So we'll have to see if it will shake out. We were hoping that Pete would sign by Christmas, but you know how Scott Boras is. If he's not getting his deal, he's going to hold these guys. And it blew up in his face last year. All his, or a number of his guys that he held out late struggled. So we will see what happens this year if the same kind of deal, you know, if they struggle again and if he holds these guys out. Pete could end up with a 1-year deal somewhere, anywhere. I mean, perhaps Seattle would pay him 25 to 30 million a year for 1 year. Maybe the Mets would do that. And if he has a good year, you extend the contract. If not, you move on. It's up to Pete now. And the thing that I don't understand is these guys see what happens. You know, Boris is a great agent. He gets all these big contracts and the guys make money, but he's got a whole slew of guys that got hurt by his style, that either out of the game now, they're no longer in the game, they were promised this big money and they never got it, and he just didn't deliver for them, and it's a slew of them, and the evidence is mounting. I mean, I'm surprised that Pete didn't see this and say, hey, I want to sign somewhere and I'll take in and a good offer that's out there, unless there's no offers. I mean, that's a possibility. He could have had some teams calling and they gave him an idea and they never called back again because the price was too high. Reportedly, it was in over 200 million in the beginning. You know, so 7 teams, they said. Boris likes to exaggerate too, but let's say there was 7 teams. They inquired about him. It was over 200 million. They don't want to spend that money. If that was the case, we've got 5 or 6 that signed guys this week that now have first basemen. So there is no market for Pete Alonso. And if there is, it's increasingly smaller. Maybe the Cubs, maybe the Giants. Now the Giants may be a possibility because they've been throwing money at every free agent and they're not landing any. Well, they made one signing. They got Adames, but they're still chasing. I think they're going after Sasaki, and so they could make a splash if they want to get a big name. They may be willing to overspend and get Pete, but does he want to play in San Francisco? That's the other side of the coin. It's not suited for him. It's not a good ballpark with the breeze. I mean, it's a great ballpark, but I mean, it's not for a right-handed hitter. It's not a great ballpark. So Wrigley Field would be a nice spot. He hit well there. I think he likes that park, so that could be a landing spot. But it looks like it's either the Mariners, perhaps the Cubs, perhaps the Giants. And that's about it. But we don't hear any peep out of the Cubs and the Giants or even from the Mariners now because they simply don't have the money. That's why they were talking about trading Luis Castillo, the pitcher, to free up some cash to possibly go after a free agent first baseman. But all these teams have contingency plans, and they'll go with their contingency plans. Even the Mets have a contingency plan. But the other thing is he was got a qualified offer attached to him as well, so they don't feel that that with the qualifying offer and the fact of the contract demands, that he's just not worth it at this point. So the team that makes the most sense for Pete Alonso is the New York Mets, and they are going to wait him out, I believe, and try to, get a cheap bargain on him. Get him as cheap as possible. Now, well, we consider what they consider cheap and what we consider cheap are two different things, of course. But this is what I believe they're going to do. They're going to wait him out now and see. And if he goes somewhere else, they may make a move on Bregman, unless Bregman signs somewhere else. That could be their plan right now. They could be concentrating on Bregman, and if they sign Bregman, they'll let Pete walk. They don't sign Bregman, they figure Pete will still be there. We'll have to see, and nothing's going to get done now. Probably until January over the holidays. Sometimes you get something between Christmas and New Year's, but that's a rare situation. So we'll wait and see what happens. All right, quick break, and we will come back and have more Mets news right after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
We're back, and the Mets are signing right-handed, or have signed right-handed pitcher Griffin Canning to a one-year deal, and the deal with Canning will be worth $4.25 million. This was first reported by the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal. Canning, 28, pitching in his fifth big league season last year, allowed an American League leading 99 earned runs in 171.2 innings for a 5.19 ERA with 66 walks for a 1.398 whip in 32 games. 31 of those games were starts. So Griffin Canning signed by the Mets. The move bolsters the Mets' depth at the back end of the rotation. We spoke about this before a little bit. I forgot these guys, though. Jose Butto, Paul Blackburn, and Tyler McGee are all candidates to be starters or head to the bullpen. And with the job that Butto did last year out of the bullpen, I know he wants to start, but he did such a terrific job out of the bullpen. You know, he sometimes you gotta think as a pitcher that I can handle this bullpen thing. I can make a lot of money coming out of the bullpen if I'm good at that as well. The Mets have made another depth signing, inking catcher Chris Williams to a minor league deal. Williams, 28, has hit 227 with 95 home runs and 76 doubles in 481 games over 6 minor league seasons. He spent the 2024 campaign with the Twins AAA affiliate in St. Paul, slashing 221.339 slash .461 with 17 homers in 88 games. Williams will add to the Mets minor league depth at catcher and serve as possible insurance for big league starter Francisco Alvarez and expected backup Luis Torrens. So more depth. And speaking of depth, the teams agreed to terms with two more pitchers, Anthony Goes and Luis Ortiz, on minor league deals just this past week, according to sources. Both will be in big league spring training, though only Goes has a chance to make the team, as Ortiz will miss most or all of next season's recovering from Tommy John surgery. Those two additions bring the total number of pitchers acquired so far this offseason by the Mets to 18, but most, like Goes, will compete for jobs in camp. President of Baseball Operations David Stearns clearly values having a large number of pitchers available at the upper levels of the organization, especially those with the an upside to make the team. Goes spent the year, or most of the past season, at AAA Columbus of the Cleveland Guardians organization. He struck out 11.9 batters per 9 innings while producing a 3.22 ERA over 41 appearances. He did demonstrate control issues, walking 5.4 batters per 9 innings. But he's got a cracking fastball, and he's a strikeout pitcher, so we'll see how that works out. Could be another bullpen piece for the Metsies as they move on. So that is all of the news I have up to date. No word yet on Pete or Bregman, and we'll see what happens with those two. But I wanted to take a few minutes to thank you all for watching and listening to the show this past year. We started this show back in 2010, way back, and we are coming into the 15th year of doing Mets Musings, and I hope that you will tell your friends and family about it. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons on there. Leave a comment, too. There's comments below. You can leave a comment. Tell me how good or bad you think the show is. Where could we make some improvements? Could we add some features? We're going to look at some stuff for next season and see what we can do to spice it up a little bit, change it around a little. We shall see what we can do, but hopefully we can get back on the interview track. I know it's been a lot of solo shows lately. We got to get back interviewing people like we have in the past. So we're going to look to do that. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you're watching this on Rumble, please hit the follow button and follow the station. And the reason you do that is so that you'll always be informed when another edition of Mets Musings comes out, so you don't have to go looking all the time. We try to do it weekly. Sometimes we're not as successful, but we try. We certainly do. So please do that. And if you just want to listen to the podcast, we are on all the major podcast apps. Wherever you get your podcast, you should be able to find Mets Musings. And if you don't, complain. Complain to your podcast app handler that, hey, we want Mets Musings on here. And Again, I don't. They all different. Some of them are like, some of them are follow. If you click on those, uh, it would be very helpful to the show, very helpful to you, so you always know when another edition is coming out. Lots of people to thank. Can't thank them all, but I'd like to thank in particular my roundtable buddies that come on, Barry Newman and Jeff Cohen and Len Aberman and Anthony Rivera pinch hits sometimes, and all the guests that we had on this year from across the country and the baseball world, and hopefully we'll get a lot more next year and some other people coming on the show. So stay tuned for that. All right. Most of all, I want to thank you, the listener. You've put up with me, you've listened to me, and I hope that you will continue to do so in the new year. And I will continue to try to give you the best information and news, up to date, and rumors, whatever that I can give you. And we're always here for emails, or you can comment, as I said, on YouTube or Rumble. And we're now on TikTok too. I don't get a lot of social media, do a lot of social media stuff. I'm a little behind on that curve. We'll try to do more next year. So, happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Whatever you celebrate, make sure it's safe and secure and you have a great time. And we are going to take off next week, and I will see you in 2025. Can you believe it? 2025. Unbelievable. And until then, remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.